Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Titan Sports, the show where we provide you with the latest news in the world of sports and here at Cal State Fullerton. I'm Justin Rosette. But I think the thing that's going to separate him when it comes to just being a great and being like an immortal in LA and in the MLB is his character. He's been the kind of guy, as Sasha mentioned in the story, who he never left the Dodgers, even after the fans called him out for choking and all these different things throughout the years. He stayed. He had a chance to go to Texas Rangers, where he's from, after the 2020 World Series, and he stayed. He won them 2 games in that World Series, kind of beat the choking allegations, and he stayed loyal. He's always been a good guy to the fans, to the community, and I think that's why he's going to be an immortal in Los Angeles. Before we transition, there is one very serious story that happened in the NFL this weekend. You hate to see certain things like this happen, and that is the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys lost a very embarrassing game to the Chicago Bears. Embarrassing. That's interesting. We have a Cowboy fan on the set, Christian. How are you doing after your loss this past Sunday? Thanks, Jonathan. It is our pleasure to welcome Khadijah Hall into the studio. Khadijah, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
So for the first question I want to ask, coming into this year's team, you and your teammate Maya Tillman are the only returners from last year's team. How has it felt this year to kind of take a leadership role and help all the new players? I was able to talk with Coach Witt before the season started, and he mentioned that this team is really good, but also last year, every team in the Big West was ranked. So every time you play a conference game, you're playing against one of the best teams in the country. And I think we've seen that this year. They started out 0-4 because the first tournament they played, I believe it was 3 ranked teams or 3 really good teams. And so since then, they've had a chance. This weekend, they played against 2 teams that were D2, 2 teams that were D3. So some lower competition, and they're able to beat the lower competition pretty handily every time. So Major League Baseball playoffs are finally here. Across both leagues, there are some familiar faces with a few newcomers as well. Starting in the National League, the LA Dodgers finished the regular season with a 93-69 record and will be returning to the playoffs for the 13th consecutive season. With divisions being decided on tiebreakers and wildcard matchups packed with rivals, this year's playoff field looks more unpredictable than ever. The road to the World Series begins tonight. So guys, obviously a lot to unpack there, but the MLB playoffs are back, one of the biggest times of the year for MLB fans. So, and Sasha, I'll come to you first on this one. Simply, what are you looking forward to? What matchup are you looking forward to in this year's playoffs? New details are coming out in the case of former Louisiana State University wide receiver Kyron Lacey, who died by suicide earlier this year after being charged in a deadly hit and run. Social media trolls and haters is one thing, but I think what might have been worse for him is, I think the body cam footage that came out is the Louisiana State police officer talking to the person that was involved in the crash and trying to get the person to admit that they were involved, that Lacey was involved. And the officer said, quote, "Make sure you put that you had to slam on the brakes to avoid the Charger that Lacey was driving in." The Louisiana State Police Department has to make a statement. They have to be held accountable. The officer that said that and was on video lying, I want him to come out and say something, because he played a direct part in this whole case, in which ended up in Kyron Lacey taking his own life. So you don't get to do that and then just go in hiding, you know? So he needs to be fired for one, but also I want to see him come out and make a statement. Why did you lie? Why did you do that? So that's what I want to see. When you go to the Raiders, I mean, everything goes downhill. We've seen guys' careers, lives, everything goes downhill when you go to the Raiders. But I think, as you mentioned, they have a lot of things to fix, but the quarterback is the person who everything falls on. And so if they're 1-4, I believe, if they keep losing, they've been blown out like 3 times now. If they keep losing a couple more blowouts, they're going to go to Kenny Pickett. And as you said, they need to go out in this next year's draft. I don't care who's number one. Trade everything for the number one. Get a young, they always go with these quarterbacks that are like kind of past their prime, whatever. Get a young quarterback and try to build. The main reason they lost is, as you said, A'ja Wilson. I mean, at this point, I think we have to consider her the greatest WNBA player of all time. She has now 3 Finals MVPs. As you said, she won everything this year. Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, Finals MVP. She's won everything. She was absolutely dominant. And I think one thing about her that's very interesting is she only shot 7 for 21, which of course 33% in this game, but she still had 31 points. She's finding ways to get things done, even when her shot is not going in. She shot 17 for 19 from the free throw line. So that's a lot of free throws, but she found a way to make it happen, even when things weren't going right. All right, that about wraps everything up. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please give us a follow on Instagram and X at TitanTVCSUF and on TikTok at TitanTV_CSUF. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we look forward to seeing you all on the next episode of
Titan Sports!